Hello again. In the last video, I was talking about what I forgot to mention is what I was talking about is a concept in Buddhism that is known as emptiness. This concept is most often completely misunderstood in the West and I guess also in the East by many. Emptiness. The Buddha said like this: all things are in themselves empty of absolute characteristics, which is, we make the names, we create the names, we say what something is and what it's used for. We create our concepts. And these concepts are empty of absolute reality from the point of view of a stone doesn't name itself a stone. We do. So why is this concept important to, at least in the beginning, theoretically understand? It's because Buddhism is I don't remember if I said this, but Buddhism is a sub-school of non-duality teachings. The non-duality teachings are the ground core of all schools and traditions in Buddhism. And so I'm going to explain how I would explain non-duality. You see, if you have a thing like my earring here, and I keep it here, okay? So, well, if you shut your eyes and you think of an object like a house, and you can see the house, you see the picture in your head. If you say a word like house in your head, a thought, you can hear it. So what's similar, or what's the same thing between looking at this and looking at the thought ring, listening to the thought ring in your head? What's the same thing? I think in my head, ring. I can hear it. I see the picture ring in my head. I look at it and I look at this. What's the same thing? Well, you're looking at it. So how can a thought in your head be you? It can't. Just as little as this ring is you, the thought isn't you. So, thoughts in the head, thoughts are kind of a echo of conceptualization. When we say what a thing is, when we use a concept, stool, chair, house, ring, whatever, in our communication with ourselves and with others, we make a concept, and this naming of these concepts creates an echo, which is the thought in your head. Now, a thought have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And they come like pearls on a string. They come like one after the other, one after the other. These was my mala. And since they come out one after the other and they have a beginning, a middle, and an end, they create a sense in our mind of continuity. And this continuity is time. So in our minds, using thoughts as a reference point for experiencing life, when we stay in our head and use thoughts, we think, then we create time. But reality, the outer world, doesn't have time. It's only in this moment, right now. So what happens when you sit in your head and the world out there is super fast, momentary, and you sit in your head and you have this sense of time, what happens is that it creates a kind of gap, a distance between you yourself experiencing life and the world out there. And one of my very good friends, Jim Leonard, said like this: a thought cannot understand what a thing is, nor can they fully understand they cannot. And when you think about it, of course not. A thought is just a name, a one-dimensional description of an object. It's not the object itself. So experiencing life through your thoughts, using thoughts, thinking, when you sit in your head and you really believe in your thoughts as you cannot really experience the world. The world is beyond your grasp. And the world is super fast out there. Everything happens just bang, 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 bang. Like waves rolling on a shore. And you sit in your head thinking. And you have time. And you have this gap. So, and you can't understand the world. Not really. People walk around their whole lives trying to figure out who they are, what life is, who's God, who am I, in a vain attempt to use words to understand the world. And since the thoughts cannot really understand, they cannot understand, then people use more words to try to solve the problems that the words create. And this gap and the inability for the thought mind to understand or grasp what the world is gives complications. We react towards the world. It ends up in three, as we say in Buddhism, three main reactions. And these reactions are the things we consider to be bad for us, and the things that we consider could be good, and the things that we don't give a shit about. We don't care about them. But the things that we want then are based on our duality, our ideas about what could be good. And they are mostly just crap. They are neurotic ideas. If I only had that, everything would be solved. Or and it turns this neurotic desire will show itself in many different facets of feelings, in emotions. Now, Eckhart Tolle said something that I thought was very good. And emotions or feelings is the body's reaction on thoughts. That's what we want things, but mostly unrealistic. Real satisfaction doesn't come from things. It comes from experiencing life as it is right now. Joy comes out of that. What we don't want also gives rise to quite a number of reactions, like hate, anger. Yeah, you know all that stuff. The third feeling is actually the most important one and the most devastating. It is the feeling of indifference. You see, when you have this gap between yourself and the head, your thought identity. I've started to note down some thoughts that I have. So I call this this self, thought created self. I call that the artificial thought identity, because we build it. We build it using concepts and thoughts. And so instead of using the name ego, which everyone does, which is not an accurate description of what's going on, because it was a term invented by Freud, I think it was. So I used this artificial thought identity instead, ATI. And I'm going to try to remember to use this ATI whenever I refer to this internal self, which we so carefully try to see as something solid and permanent, which it isn't. And remember when I talked about this ring? How can the thoughts, how can the identity be you when you can see it, when you can hear it in your head? So what's really difficult with this indifference is that since thoughts cannot understand what a thing is, and you have this gap between yourself and the world out there, this loneliness sitting in my head, me in here, and the world out there, other people out there, me here. Since you have this gap and this feeling or this inability to actually thoughts cannot understand what things are, this is known as nihilism. This is where nihilism has its root. The experience, the feeling that life is dead. You have this feeling that I am a temporary exception to nothing. I strive to maintain being alive, which is a complete lie. It's absolutely not true. You are the source of life, but having a ATI, an artificial thought identity, and experiencing life through your thoughts gives rise to the feeling or the experience of death. That life is empty, meaningless, devoid of any real substance. There's no joy, nothing. What's really bad about this indifference, this nihilism, is that we manifest it mostly on the outside. We create our lives in such a way that we will prove to be right. We will prove that we are right. Life is dead. Getting a crappy job, having bad relations, unfulfilled sex, you name it. So this, that we manifest this nihilism, this indifference on the outside, also proved to us that it's true. Life is crap. I don't know if I said that, but one definition I have about awakening is the place of absolute integrity. So what is that? That is to take responsibility, to be able to respond to creating your own life as you need it to be happy. So Buddhist meditation is designed to close this gap between the thought mind and the world, so that you stop duality and enter non-duality. Okay, so that was that for today. I will come out with a new video whenever I feel like it. I often experience having fear of recording and doing this, but I think it can actually help some people. So I'll continue recording even if I don't feel that I'm very qualified or anything like that. Other people say I am, so I will have to trust them. Okay, so have a nice time. I'm recording this very late in the evening, and I hope it turns out good. Okay, bye.